Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Alexis and today I'm going to share some of my recent purchases for books. I will say that I did purchase these before I decided to unhaul books. So yeah, we'll see what I actually get into. I'm going to even share a little backstory if I'm familiar with the author or the series. So let's get into the first book. Here I have Judith McNaught's Kingdom of Dreams. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. This is not the original cover. This is definitely a redesign, and I honestly don't remember too much about it. I believe it's supposed to take place in Scotland during medieval times, but again, I'm not sure because I have yet to actually pick this one up, but looking forward to it. Next, I have The Rogue King by Abigail Owen from the Inferno Rising series. I know that this is supposed to be a fantasy romance. It is only listed as a romance at the store that I bought it at, but you can obviously tell from the cover it's supposed to be more fantastical. Again, don't know much about this one. I just heard great things about it, if at all. So I definitely want to tap in more into the fantasy genre for romance, and this is one of them. Next one I'm pretty happy I found, and that is Eloisa James' How to Be a Wallflower. This is the first book in her newest series, a would-be wallflowers novel. This is supposed to be about Cleopatra and Jacob. So I know nothing about the series other than the fact that it's the first one in this new series, and I was lucky to find it at my local thrift. It is in like new condition, so it doesn't even look like it was read at all. There's no breaks in the spine. If I didn't know any better, I would have said that, I got it at Target because of the Target sticker. That is difficult to remove, and I'm not going to attempt. Next one, I am kind of concerned about starting because I've never read a book with a character like this before. So I'm concerned for said character to see how it was laid out. But from what I've heard, people love it. So I'm hoping I'll love it too. And that is A Lady for a Duke. This will be the first book I read by Alexis Hall. And yes, I low-key picked it because the author has the same name as me. And I did intend on reading boyfriend material and husband material, but I just never got around to it. Whereas this one feels more up my alley because it's historical romance. And the heroine in here is supposed to be a transgender woman, so there's some LGBT representation in here. I've never read a book with a transgender character as the center person before, which, realizing that considering how old I am and how many books I've read, it's pretty disappointing to myself and maybe to others as well. So, with that being said, I am hoping to get to this before the end of the summer, if not early fall, because of the other stack of books that I'm hoping to get to as well. Oh, and I did thrift this already, surprisingly, because it came out this summer. But the person I bought this from, thank you, she included a little bookmark, and it says she needed a hero, so that's what she became. And I think that's so cute. It came with it. Sometimes people decide to include little book goodies or swag in their shipments to their customers. I personally do not. I try to refrain from doing that. Maybe I'll leave a sweet little note. Maybe in the future I'll start doing that as well. But in the meantime, I'm just going to message, text. I'm simple. The next one that I technically already started, but I only read the prologue, and that is by Scarlett Peckham the Rakess. Apparently, this was inspired by the mother of Mary Shelley, I believe. Yes, so this book is inspired by the life of Mary Wollstonecraft, who is the mother of Mary Shelley. Wollstonecraft was also very active in women's rights issues. back then. But yes, I thought it was very interesting that the author included a note talking about the inspiration for this book and, you know, playing on the tropes about, you know, a rake and an innocent. Whereas in this one, the woman is more active and the guy isn't as experienced. But, you know, I'm already liking the beginning. I am in the middle of another book that is contemporary, so I'm trying to keep them separate. But I did enjoy the start of this and the prologue, so I can't wait to get into this couple right here and see their happy ending. Now I have Crying Wolf by Kerrigan Byrne. This is the most recent release in the Good Girls series, and this is the fifth book. I've already read the first four about the other siblings, whereas this one is supposed to be about one of the legitimate daughters of the good siblings. So I'm excited to get into this, and Wolf is supposed to be the name of her love interest. So again, I'm excited to get into this. They're pretty short and sweet, the Good Girls series. I believe they are all less than 200 pages, if not just over 200 pages. This one's 203. But this one is probably going to be maybe a few weeks from now. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll change my mind. It just depends on my mood. Like I said, I have a stack of books, but this author I definitely don't see myself ever parting with because I just developed such an attachment to the stories that have been built in this world that the author created. So, yes, this is definitely more historical romance with hints of suspense. I would say that for the entire series. And the Victorian Rebel series, which is also tied into the Good Girls series. But both of them I would say you can read without the other series, but it's just more enjoyable to stay in the world that was created. So, yes, definitely looking forward to this one. Now I'm going to get into the remaining stack by Teresa Medeiros, I believe is how you pronounce it. But the first book I read by her was Yours Until Dawn. I do have another copy of this. This is the nicer version, I guess, or nicer edition, I should say. Mine that I've read already, I broke the spine, and I try to avoid breaking my spines for my books, but it was hard because the book was just so enriching and I didn't even realize I was bending the spine. So I'm really glad that this was included in the lot that I got on eBay. But yes, so this one, it follows Samantha and Gabriel. I definitely remember the plot. This is one of the first books that I read this year. And when I tell you that I could not forget it, this is definitely it. I still am debating with myself if I want to resell my other copy that is not as pristine as this one, or if I just want to keep them both and just have one to look at and the other one to constantly read through, because I definitely see myself revisiting it. The fact that it's still ingrained in my head and I read it in January, that doesn't happen often for me. So, yes. And this does have the pretty step back. You may have already seen it because, again, I read it months ago, and as you can tell, it is definitely a little yellow. Looks like the lot that I got, the person must have just kept on the shelves. Maybe it was in a room that had a lot of sun, but some pages are very, very yellow and others are not as yellow, but definitely were never read because spines are not broken. So very excited about this lot. The rest of the books I'm just going to talk about in order of how I think I'm going to go into reading them, just based on what the cover is or what the plot sounds like, or even just because it was a standalone. Who knows? The next one I have here is One Night of Scandal. This one is also including a step back. It's very similar design to Yours Until Dawn, but you know, that is okay because you get to experience the art that is, you know, created. And again, no spine break. This one I'm probably going to go into next by this author because it is also a standalone. I know nothing about it, and I think I'm going to continue to go in blind for the other books by her. Maybe I'll check to see if it is part of a series just to make sure I'm reading them in order. But in terms of the synopsis, I do not want to read them because I was very pleasantly surprised with Years Until Dawn, and I want to feel that same thing with the rest of her books. So, there. Another one that I've heard good things about is Fairest of Them All. This one, I do have the step back. Apparently, it's really difficult to find this one with the step back, but because I got it in a lot, I knew it was going to be included. Spine, hardly broken. Looks like there's just one break there. I know nothing about it. I'm pretty sure it's the first in the series, but it's giving mystical vibes because of the title. So this is probably going to be the one I read after the One Night of Scandal. The next book that I have here is Charming the Prince. I will say that the cover is a little creased, you can see that, but it does have a lovely step back, and you know these books are older because of how yellow the pages are, but that's okay. It's a little tear at the corner, but it is what it is. See, it's very yellow. Looks like it was perhaps read only once, or maybe not even that because there's no break on the spine. But yes, I'm very excited to get started in this one. It's giving me mystical, fantasy, fairy tale, all that jazz, just like the other one. So I've been in somewhat of a fantastical, historical mood. We'll see if that continues, but I've also been inching towards contemporary, so we'll see. The next two, I believe, are from the same series. I'm not sure which is first, but that would be Breath of Magic. Here, I'll show this one first. This one looks like new. There's no yellowing, or little to no yellowing on the pages. Unfortunately, in the lot, it was packaged a little too tight, and it looks like it was shoved here, so it's a little creased on the side. I don't know if you can see that, just a little bit. But nothing a little flattening out won't do. And it's the back cover, so it's not that deep. Here's Touch of Enchantment, and it has a lovely step back. It's giving me Sabrina, you know? And I mean Sabrina the Teenage Witch, not Sabrina from Netflix, because I just don't acknowledge that one as much as I do the 90s one. So, like, it was okay. Netflix was okay trying to make it more modern, but the 90s one, I will say a classic for me, and this is giving that, at least in the pictures. So, the rest of the books that I have here, I have no idea what order I'm going to read them in, but I'm going to show them regardless because, again, it was included in the same lot as the previous books. Shadows and Lace. Nobody's Darling. Thief of Hearts. Once an Angel. Whisper of Roses. And A Kiss to Remember. And those are all the books that I have to share today. Let me know in the comments below if you have any recommendations where I should start. If I ever decide to sell my books, they will be listed in my Pango Books shop. I will leave the link down below along with my referral links for thrift books. And if you decide to hop on eBay, I recommend that as well. You can easily save what you're searching. So for example, if you're searching a particular author, you can just have that saved on your account, and then you can get notifications for new postings or listings about said author and the books that are being sold. So that's all I have for today. My name's Alexis, and until next time, happy reading and take care.